Hello again. I wanted to skip forward to the search tab in your course guide. So let me share my screen again. All right. So if you go to the search tab in your course guide, you will notice there's a search box for EBSCO Discovery Service for environmental sciences. That is a box that searches our databases within EBSCO host. So that is kind of a portal to get you into our databases, and we'll go ahead and use that. You also notice a search box for using the cat pack. So that will help you find books that we have in the library, maybe videos, government documents, things like that. So we can do a search in the cat pack as well. And also on the right-hand side, we have links to specific databases. So as you notice, this is our environment complete, but it says in parentheses EBSCO, so that tells you that it is accessed through our EBSCO interface. So in other words, you will get to that through going through this search box. So we'll go ahead and it's going to do a search for global warming in EBSCO. All right. So you may or may not be familiar with a search in EBSCO host or EBSCO databases. And it's going to look similar no matter what kind of search you do. But there are certain things you see here. All right, first of all, you see that you have 133,000 hits and 311 hits. So that's a lot of hits. So you probably are not going to go through all of those. There are ways on the left-hand side to limit your search. Let's start with the date. We're probably not going to want to go back to 1947. So let's just say 2010. Keep in mind that possibly the most current publications are not going to necessarily be available in EBSCO because of different agreements and that kind of thing. But we can kind of deal with that when we get to it. Some things are going to be available through interlibrary loan. All right, so you notice we went down to 73,000 hits, which is still quite a bit, but it's quite a bit less than what we had before. Just changing the date limiters. Okay, so as you go through some of these hits that we get in EBSCO, you will notice things like the icon that says academic journal. That's typically what you're going to want to look for. That is kind of the purpose of these databases, is to pull academic works and have them available for you. So there's another academic journal. You get some hits for video results. Those are things you're probably not going to use. Something else you'll notice is whether it is interlibrary loan or PDF full text. So if you have a PDF or HTML full text link, that means you have full text to the article. That means you don't have to go any further. It's right here. You can click on the detailed record, which is the title, as you notice at the detailed record. And then you have a link to the PDF full text of the article, in addition to the bibliographic information. That being the information you will need to cite your article, such as the title, the authors, the source, which is the journal, and you also get an abstract, which is a description of the article. But like I said, you can click on the PDF full text of the article. And this will be essentially a scanned version of the article that is placed online. So in other words, you have the information that you need because you have the article, right? So that is a very good feature of EBSCO host. Let's go back to the result list where we had the original search. And as I mentioned before, some of them will have this ILL link, which is interlibrary loan. Now, that means that it's not available full text, and we don't carry that journal in the library. But what you can do is click on this link and fill out this form and submit it to the library. And we will try to get it from another library. And typically the interlibrary loan requests don't cost anything. The service does not cost anything. Every once in a while, a library will charge for fulfilling an interlibrary loan request, but we won't do that without your permission. Like I said, most of the time, it's not going to cost anything. So if you need an article that is only available through interlibrary loan, go ahead and place that request, and we can try to get it for you. Most of the time, we can. All right, so some other things you might want to notice on the EBSCO screen. You can limit to full text. Say you don't want to worry about interlibrary loan. You don't have time for that, because it does take time to fulfill an interlibrary loan request, possibly up to a week, depending on what it is. But so you can limit to full text to get rid of any of those hits that are interlibrary loan. So that is something that is available to you. Also, notice there is a peer-reviewed limiter, which is, okay, so you see academic journal, which tells you that that article is published in an academic journal. Okay, so that means that it should be something that is going to be more reliable as opposed to, say, like a magazine. But you're not always necessarily sure about that. So if you click on peer reviewed, what that does is limit it even further to journals that go through the peer reviewed process, which means that a scientist, a professor will write an article, submit it to one of these publications, and the publication will have a panel of reviewers that will go over these articles and look at the research that's being done and make sure that the data has been collected properly, that the sample size is sufficient, and just all that kind of thing. That's something we get to at a later point. But anyways, if you click on peer reviewed, that is the easiest way to get the most reliable information, because you know it has gone through the peer review process. However, I will say that EBSCO is really good, but you still have to use your own judgment and make sure that the materials you find, the resources you find in EBSCO are indeed peer reviewed, even though you have this limiter set, because there are journals that are predatory journals, I think they're called, that may not necessarily actually be peer reviewed, but they claim to be. So you have to be careful about that kind of thing. Like I said, EBSCO really is good about limiting the information and weeding out the information that you don't want to use, but you still have to be careful. One other thing that you can do, because this is a very general search, global warming, right? If you go down to limit by subject, let's go click on more. It's going to give you more specific terms that you can use. So using your search is all about your keywords. So okay, global warming is a good place to start. It's very broad. So you probably would want to limit it by adding other terms like climate change, you got global warming, climatology, greenhouse gases, greenhouse effect, global warming in the environment, climate models. And let's just use those as an example. And so now you're down to 20,000. Still a lot, right? But it's a lot less than it was before. So I hope that gives you an idea of how to start to do a search and where to go to start looking for information. We have a lot of resources available to you through our library homepage, our library collection that will make things easier for you looking for information. So it's a good place to start looking. I will go ahead and close the shared screen and just say I hope this was helpful, and I'll be talking about different things such as evaluating your sources and using your sources, because you are, if you're not familiar with citation formats such as APA, it can be a little bit overwhelming. So would help with that as well. So so look for some other videos in the other tabs of your course guide. Thanks.